All right, we're still at the meeting with the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, Mayor and Board. We have your agenda. The first item on your agenda is the approval of a resolution to approve the warrants and claims as they have been audited and presented. I need a motion, please.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Trustee Walsh.
Abstain.
I had two.
So we have a motion to approve the warrants and claims. I need a second.
A second.
Thank you, Trustee Nigro. Trustee Walsh.
Yes.
Trustee Nigro.
Yes.
Trustee Di Natale.
Yes.
Trustee Di Bartolomeo.
Abstain.
Mayor
Yes.
Nicosi.
Name with you at the top page.
I'm gonna read it right now, if you want me to read it.
Just make sure that everybody has the top page of the agenda.
No, Bob doesn't have it either, actually.
I'm missing. First page. Here you go, Deputy Mayor. Sorry, the job doesn't exist, as you see it.
It might be on the bottom, there's the last page.
It's on the back of your pack.
The very bottom.
So there we go. Everybody
Now we
else,
lost
we just
Maria.
take Maria back.
Now we know who the most important person here is. I saw these people. I on the first street.
Everyone has a page. I have an extra one now if anyone needs.
No,
We're all
I think
good.
everybody has.
Very good, thank you. Okay, so we were at the warrants and claims. Trustee Bartolomeo, you abstained, and Mayor Minicozy, you voted yes. The next item on the agenda, there are no budget transfers at this meeting, so that item is not to be considered tonight. The next item on the agenda are the prior meeting minutes. And those are presented to you for your approval, and a motion to approve them is needed, please.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Trustee Vitale.
A second?
Thank you, Trustee Bartolomeo. Trustee Walsh.
Yes.
Trustee Nigro.
Yes.
Trustee Di Vitale.
Yes.
Trustee Di Bartolomeo.
Yes.
Mayor Minicozy.
Yes.
The next item on the agenda is a resolution to change the meeting dates for the planning board to the first Tuesday of the month. That would be effective Tuesday, March 7th, 2023. So again, that's just the date and the month that the planning board will be meeting, and again, first Tuesday of each month. I need a motion to change that date.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Trustee Nigro.
How much time does that give us before? When was the date supposed to appear?
March 14th. So March 7th would be the first one.
I'll make that motion.
A second?
Thank you, Trustee Bartolomeo. Trustee Walsh.
Yes.
Trustee Nigro.
Yes.
Trustee Di Natale.
Yes.
Trustee Di Bartolomeo.
Yes.
Mayor Minicozy.
Yes.
The Bayville Elementary Council, Parent Council, has requested use of the Bayville to hold their 5th grade beach parties from 9 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. at West Harbor Beach, June 5th, 2023, with a rain date of June 7th, 2023. They have completed the necessary application for use of facilities.
I make a motion?
Thank you, trustee
I'll second.
Bartolomeo. Thank you, trustee Walsh.
Yes.
Trustee Nigro.
Yes.
Trustee Dean Vitale.
Yes.
Trustee DiBartolomeo.
Yes.
Mayor Minicozzi.
Yes.
The next item on the agenda is a proposal, two proposals from Alessio Construction. These are for improvements at our water plant facilities. So the resolution is to approve a proposal from Alessio to fix the drainage issue at the well 1-3 on Godfrey Avenue for a total cost of $16,700, and to replace the broken service valves on Bayville Avenue near 16th Street and Nova Road for a total of $44,862. ARPA funds will be used to cover both projects. Alessio is the the contractor of record for the village for water main and appurtenance repairs and improvements.
I make a motion?
Thank you, trustee Bartolomeo.
Second that motion.
Thank you, trustee Di Natale. Trustee Walsh.
Yes.
Trustee Nigro.
Yes.
Trustee Di Natale.
Yes.
Trustee Di Bartolomeo.
Yes.
Mayor Minicozzi.
Yes.
The next item on the agenda also having to do with water plant facilities. This is for well 1 this is the abandonment of well 1-2. And I'm looking for a resolution to approve a proposal from A.C. Schultes to abandon well 1-1. The total cost is $31,615. This will also be funded with ARPA money.
This is well 1-2, not 1, right? You just-
Well 1-2. So well 1 and 1 is here, and then 1-2 is the second well up here, with 1-3 being the one on Godfrey.
Okay.
Well, 2-1 is the one at, let's talk, okay?
Good.
Okay. That's it right there?
Yeah.
Okay. So now I need a motion to do what we just.
I make a motion.
Thank you, trustee Bartolomeo. Second, please.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you, trustee Di Natale. Trustee Walsh.
Yes.
Trustee Nigro.
Would it cost that much to dig a well?
Yes.
It costs a lot of money
I
to do
vote
it.
yes.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Di Natale.
Yes.
Trustee Di Bartolomeo.
Yes.
Mayor Minicozzi.
Yes.
We have two proposals for lighting electrical upgrades at Village Hall. The proposal is from Advanced Electric Resources to fix lighting in the cellar of Village Hall for a total of $1,400, to update electrical circuits in the front of Village Hall, front office area of Village Hall for a total of $1,500. Both of these needed for safety purposes as well as just straight upgrades.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, trustee Nigro.
Second?
Thank you, trustee Di Bartolomeo. Trustee Walsh.
Yes.
Trustee Nigro.
Yes.
Trustee Di Natale.
Yes.
Trustee Di Bartolomeo.
Yes.
Mayor Minicozzi.
Yes.
The next item on the agenda is for a resolution to award the contract for installing pickleball courts at West Harbor Beach to the lowest responsible bidder, who was Construction Consultants LI, Inc., and this is as per the recommendation from H2M. The total cost is $168,616. Funding for this project is from DASI, project ID 25225, as was provided to the village via Assembly Person Levine. So we would like to award the contract and get the work done on the pickleball courts.
Well, I have a question. Isn't there other work being done within that quote, $168,000?
The 168 is strictly for the pickleball court portion of the work. We're going to be doing some work at the concession stand, and we're going to be doing some work
Playground.
which we've already ordered previously.
And none of this is gonna go for improving or increasing any of the parking on that, on that side of the park.
Where the pickleball
Yeah.
courts are going?
No, it's not changes.
Not affecting the parking.
Okay.
So again, the resolution would be to award the contract to Construction Consultants LI Inc. for the amount of $168,616.
Make a motion.
Thank you, trustee DeBartolomeo.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you, trustee Di Natale. Trustee Walsh.
Yes.
Trustee Nygrow.
Yes.
Trustee Di Natale.
Yes.
Trustee DeBartolomeo.
Yes.
Mayor Minicos.
Yes.
The next item is a proposal from H2M for the 2022-2023 MS4 annual report. This annual report is required under the Stormwater Management Program Plan and is pursuant to the requirements of the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation. And the report is for the period of March 10th, 2022 to March 9th, 2023. And the total proposal is for an amount not to exceed $9,600.
I'll make a motion to accept the proposal.
Thank you, trustee.
I'll second.
Natale. Thank you, trustee Nygrow. Trustee Walsh.
Yes.
Trustee Nygrow.
Yes.
Trustee Di Natale.
Yes.
Trustee Bartolomeo. Yes. Mayor Minicos.
Yes.
The village church has made a request for the use of Sunset Beach for services on March 26, 2023 from 6:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. and on April 9, 2023 at 7 a.m.
Can I make a motion?
Thank you, trustee Bartolomeo.
I'll second.
Thank you, trustee Walsh. Trustee Walsh.
Yes.
Trustee Nygrow.
Yes.
Trustee Di Natale.
Yes.
Trustee Bartolomeo.
Yes.
Mayor Di Natale.
Minicos.
Yes.
Mayor Minicos. Did I get trustee Di Natale? Yes, I did. The next item on the agenda is a resignation from Ashley McAleer from her position as secretary to the zoning board, planning board, and CAR. And take a motion to accept Ashley's resignation.
I will make that motion, and I too regret the resignation of Ashley McAleer.
Thank you. Trustee Nygrow, and a second.
I'll second that.
Thank you, trustee Di Natale. Trustee Walsh.
Yes.
Trustee Nygrow.
Yes.
Trustee Di Natale.
Yes.
Trustee DeBartolomeo.
Yes.
Mayor Minicos.
Yes.
The next item on the agenda is for the resolution to approve a proposal from USI Consulting Group to provide actuarial services for OPEB, which are other post-employment benefits, for 3 years. This is required by GASB 74 and 75. The total cost is $6,800 for the services, and it covers us through fiscal year end 2025.
I'll make the motion to accept.
Thank you, trustee Di Natale.
I'll second.
Thank you, trustee Walsh. Trustee Walsh.
Yes.
Trustee Nygrow.
Yes.
Trustee Di Natale.
Yes.
Trustee Bartolomeo.
Yes.
Mayor Minicos.
Yes.
The next item on the agenda is a resolution to approve the proposal from North Shore Fence Company to install fencing at Village Hall along the DPW driveway for a total cost of $6,700. Again, we're looking to use ARPA funds for these infrastructure improvements.
Make a motion?
Thank you, trustee DeBartolomeo.
I just have a question. Last month, we had approved a proposal from them. Is this the same or different?
It was for the village
It was,
That was the village church, I think,
Church, yeah.
according to the minutes. that were there.
I have that it was for
It
a
does say-
6-foot high chain link fence on the rear corner.
If that's what we.
And that's the expense that trustee Walsh and you were right, so that way will not be on this agenda. Will be taken off this agenda.
Right, it was on the,
Yes,
Yes,
it
okay.
does reach, yes, the south side other projects, good job.
Is everyone got 2 sets of pencils?
I'd like to take a break at this time to do our first local law hearing, which is scheduled for 6:45 p.m., if that's okay, Mayor?
Yes.
So notice is hereby given that the Board of Trustees of the Incorporated Village of Bayville will hold a public hearing commencing at 6:45 p.m. on Monday, February 27th, 2023 at Bayville Village Hall, 34 School Street in said village. The hearing will be on whether to enact proposal for C-2023, a local law to amend Chapter 80 zoning, Article 18, Board of Appeals of the Code of the Village of Bayville. The code was adopted by Local Law 2-1978 on May 22nd, 1978, unless amended by the Board of Trustees on January 23rd, 2023 by Local Law 1-2023. A copy of the proposed Local Law C-2023 is posted on the Village of Bayville's website, which may be found at, and the link is provided in the notice. Proposed local law C-2023 may also be viewed at Bayville Village Hall, 34 School Street, Bayville, New York, 11709, where it may be reviewed between the hours of 8:30 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. Monday through Friday, excepting holidays from the date of this notice to the time of the hearing. Persons who may suffer from a disability which would prevent them from participating in said hearing should notify Maria Alfonso Hardy, Village Clerk Treasurer at 516-628-1439, in sufficient time to permit such arrangements to be made to enable such persons to participate in said hearing. By order of the Board of Trustees, Incorporated Village of Bayville, Maria Alfonso Hardy, Village Clerk Treasurer, and there's an affidavit, the notice is dated February 3rd, there's an affidavit of publication and an affidavit of posting, and I will turn this over to Village Attorney Wyler for any comments or questions.
I'd like to make one comment. The local law which was circulated, proposed local law C-2023, I noticed on proofreading it, there was a slight typographical error where the word "the" was mentioned twice in the paragraph under proposed new subsection D, Board of Appeals decision. And basically, I would recommend that if the board's inclined to grant this or adopt this law, that minor correction be made. And it reads as follows: the Board of Trustees may render its decision on any appeal or application in short form format, setting forth the board's determination and conditions, if any, without enumerating the, and it says the again. So we should just cross off that one the, and everything works fine. That's the only minor change you can make, which is permissible to make such a minor correction. So that should be noted when the law
Is filed.
when it's passed. Yes. Okay. Now the other thing which we should do is to adopt. If we're going to have any hearing, we're going to hear from anybody about this.
It's open to the public, Mayor.
Okay, would anybody like to be heard on the proposed local law? No?
Okay, let the record show that there were no comments.
May I close the hearing?
I guess we can close the hearing.
Okay, so the hearing is, a motion to accept, to close the hearing at 6:49 p.m., please.
We
Thank
close the
you,
hearing.
Trustee Nigro.
I'll second.
Thank you, Trustee Walsh. Trustee Walsh.
Yes.
Trustee Nigro.
Yes.
Trustee Di Natale.
Yes.
Trustee DeBartolomeo.
Yes.
Mayor Minicozy.
Yes.
And I will read the resolution as prepared. Whereas the Board of Trustees of the Village of Bayville, Village Board by resolution dated January 23rd, 2023, introduced local law 2023-C, Board of Appeals procedure to amend Chapter 80, Article 18, Section 80-88 of the Code of the Village of Bayville, Village Code, regarding the powers of the Board of Appeals for consideration at a public hearing to be held on February 27, 2023 at 6:45 p.m. at the Village Hall located at 34 School Street, Bayville, New York. And whereas the Village Board, in accordance with the State Environmental Quality Review Act, (SUPRA), declares itself to be lead agency, has determined that the proposed action is an unlisted action. Now therefore be it resolved that this board declares the proposed action will not result in a significant adverse impact on the environment because it is a procedural matter amending the village code to allow for the rendering of short form and long form Board of Appeals decision and extending the time for filing the same. And further resolved that proposed local law 2023-C, adopted as local law number 3 of the year 2023, be and same hereby is enacted by the Board of Trustees of the Incorporated Village of Bayville. And I need a motion on that, please.
I make a motion.
Thank you, Trustee Bartolomeo, a second.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you, Trustee Natale. Trustee Walsh.
Yes.
Trustee Nyberg.
Yes.
Trustee Natale.
Yes.
Trustee Bartolomeo. Yes. Thank you.
Yes.
We have another local law set to be heard at 6:50 p.m. Let the record show 6:52 p.m. And I'll read the notice. Notice is hereby given that the Board of Trustees of the Incorporated Village of Bayville will hold a public hearing commencing at, and the record shows 6:52 p.m. on Monday, February 27, 2023, at the Bayville Village Hall, 34 School Street in said village. Said hearing will be on whether to enact proposed local law D-2023, a local law to amend Chapter 77, Water, of the Code of the Village of Bayville. The code was adopted by local law 2-1978 on May 22, 1978, and last amended by the Board of Trustees on January 23, 2023 by local law 2-2023. Copy of the proposed local law D-2023 is posted on the Village of Bayville's website, which may be found at, and the notice does include the link for that. Proposed local law D-2023 may also be reviewed at the Bayville Village Hall, 34 School Street, Bayville, New York, 01709, where it may be reviewed between the hours of 8:30 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. Monday through Friday, accepting holidays from the date of this notice to the time of the hearing. Persons who may suffer from a disability which would prevent them from participating in said hearing should notify Maria Alfano Party, Village Clerk Treasurer, at 516-628-1439 in sufficient time to permit such arrangements to be made to enable such persons to participate in said hearing. By order of the Board of Trustees, the Incorporated Village of Bayville, Maria Alfano Party, Village Clerk Treasurer. The notice is dated February 3rd, and for the record, there's an affidavit of publication and an affidavit of posting. And again, I turn it over to Village Attorney Weiler for any explanation.
I don't have anything more to say than this change to the code allows for what we call installment payments for what we consider to be costly water facility charges. Sometimes what happens, a water main breaks where the owner of the property that is responsible for the tap and the water coming from the water main. It sometimes involves a fair amount of expense depending upon where the water main break is. And this allows the board to work out an arrangement with the owner of the property to make installment payments. That's what it's about.
Does anybody have any questions on that? No?
All right, and I'll take a motion at 6:54 p.m. to close the hearing, please.
I make a motion.
Thank you, Trustee Bartolomeo.
Second that motion.
Thank you, Trustee Natale. Trustee Walsh.
Yes.
Trustee Nyberg.
Yes.
Trustee Natale.
Yes.
Trustee Bartolomeo.
Yes.
Mayor Minicozy.
Yes.
I'll read the resolution as prepared. Mr. Weller, I'll read the resolution as prepared.
Sure.
And whereas the Board of Trustees of the Village of Bayville, Village Board by resolution dated January 23rd, 2023, introduced local law 2022D to amend Chapter 77, Section 77-20, Water Rents of the Code of the Village of Bayville, Village Code, for consideration of a public hearing to be held on February 27th, 2023 at 6:45 p.m. Let the record show the hearing started at 2 p.m. at the Village Hall located at 34 School Street, Bayville, New York. And whereas the Village Board, in accordance with the State Environmental Quality Review Act, (SEQRA), declares itself to be lead agency and has determined that the proposed action is an unlisted action. Now therefore be it resolved that this board declares the proposed action will not result in a significant adverse impact on the environment because it is a procedural matter amending the village code to allow the installment payment of water facility charges to the village, and further resolve that proposed local law D, adopted as local law number 4 of the year 2023 B, and the same hereby is enacted by the Board of Trustees of the Incorporated Village of Bayville. And if I may have a motion for that resolution, please.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Trustee Walsh.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you, Trustee Natale. Trustee Walsh.
Yes.
Trustee Nigro.
Yes.
Trustee Natale.
Yes.
Trustee DeBartolomeo.
Yes.
Mayor Minicozzi.
Yes.
Thank you, Board. We'll go back to the agenda. So the next item that was on the agenda is a request from St. Joseph's Church for their feast to be held on Thursday, June 8th, and continue through Sunday, June 11th, 2023. And this is a request the church has made annually. They're asking for use of West Harbor lot for parking for feast attendees, for vehicles on June 9th and 10th, and to allow parking on both sides of Bayville Avenue during the feast from June 8th through June 11th.
I will move that.
Thank you, Trustee Nigro.
Second.
Thank you, Trustee DeBartolomeo. Trustee Walsh.
Yes.
Trustee Nigro.
Yes, even though the lady who ran the sausage and pepper stand,
She's
the most popular one ever at the feast, said last year she was going to retire. But hopefully they'll
Oh,
find
sorry.
it.
We need another.
Hopefully they'll find it to be perfect. I know, you can just tug over. Hopefully they'll
But
find
that's
it.
still a yes, Trustee
Yes.
Nigro.
It's a definite yes.
I can bring her
Trustee
back.
Natale.
Yes.
Trustee DeBartolomeo.
Yes.
Mayor Minicozzi.
Yes.
Okay. At this time, we're going to introduce proposed local law E 2023, which is an amendment to the code of the Village of Bayville to add a new chapter 21A, curfew Independence Day. And the purpose of this is to again introduce the law and to set a hearing date, which would be March 27, 2023.
I make a motion.
Thank you, Trustee DeBartolomeo.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you, Trustee Natale. Trustee Walsh.
Yes.
Trustee Nigro.
Yes,
Trustee Natale.
Yes.
Trustee DeBartolomeo.
Yes.
Mayor Minicozzi.
Yes.
I have here for the board the tentative budget for fiscal year 2023, 2024. And again, this is being presented
Thank you.
to each of you, and the hearing date will be set for March 27th, and the time will be noted in the public notice. So do I have a motion to set the hearing date for Monday, March 27th for the tentative budget?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Trustee
I will
Natale.
second.
Thank you, Trustee Nigro. Trustee Walsh.
Yes.
Trustee Nigro.
Yes,
Trustee Natale.
Yes.
Trustee DeBartolomeo.
Yes.
Mayor Minicozzi.
Yes.
The next item on the agenda has to do with water tanks. And I know we have Andrew Petty, Supervisor of Water Plant Operations, in the audience. If there's any questions from the audience or the board regarding the change in water rents, would you like Mr. Petty to come forward and explain the change in rents?
Sure.
Andy?
Okay, hello everybody, Andrew Petty, Supervisor of Water Plants. If anybody has a copy, if anybody would like a copy of the new water rates? have so many copies, so. So basically, what I'm proposing is, I have one more. So what I'm proposing is a $5 increase to the minimum bill. So currently, our minimum bill is $27.50. The increase will raise it to $32.50. And then I'm also proposing a 5% across the board rate increase. So the different tiers, we have 4 tiers based on water consumption, conservation rate. The more water you use, the more you pay for it. It's meant to conserve water. So our first tier was being billed at $1.19, which was 0 to 5,000 gallons. It's now going to go to $1.25. Our next tier, 5,000 to 67,000 gallons, was $2.52. That will now go to $2.65. 67,000 to 137,000 will be billed at $3.81, up from $3.63. And then anything over 137,000 gallons was $4.54. That will now be $4.77. So I did a little breakdown of a comparison on the first page that you can look at what the new rates will be in comparison to the old rates. And you can see that for the average user in the non-peak months, so winter months, you're looking at only an increase of $5.95 per quarter. That's if you were using 10,000 gallons of water per quarter. And for the average irrigation user using 67,000 gallons of water in the summer, you're looking at only an increase of $13.43. So that is the breakdown of the new rates as proposed.
Thank you.
Does anybody have any questions on the rates?
Just an average, our rates are lower than the average.
Yes, thank you for bringing that up. I actually, back in 2019, I saved all the articles. We were in Newsday. The article was the cost of taking a shower and watering your lawn varies across water districts. We were also in the Oyster Bay Guardian and in the North Shore Leader, and we actually made, that was with our 2019 rates, which are after this proposal will become our old rates. We were the top 10 lowest cost of water on the entire island when compared with the other rates. And then, of course, as everyone can imagine, from 2019 when that article came out based on our old rates, pretty much every single water district across the island has increased their rates since then. So this will be now our first increase since that time. Because, of course, like everything else, the cost of living, cost of doing business went up. So a lot of our fixed costs, like caustic and chlorine, which we have no choice but to use, that went up drastically over the past 4 years. And that's not something where we can say, oh, well, it costs more, so we'll use less, because we have to use it. The cost of electricity went up a lot. So because of that, all of our costs increased, so of course the rates have to increase.
Also, water's the best, right?
That's right. Which is why, that's why we will still remain on that top 10 lowest cost of water, because thankfully for us, our treatment costs are lower than other districts that have a lot of contaminants because they have to remove those contaminants. So we'll always pretty much be there on the lower end of the spectrum, thankfully because of the quality of our water.
Thank you.
Thank you, man.
Of course.
Thank you.
Do I have a motion to accept the water rates, new water rates as presented?
I make a motion.
Thank you, trustee Bartolomeo.
Second that motion.
Thank you, trustee Di Natale. Trustee Walsh.
Yes.
Trustee Nyro.
Yes.
Trustee Di Natale.
Yes.
Trustee Bartolomeo.
Yes.
Mayor Minnikosi.
Yes.
Thank you. The next item is change order for work done to the conference room by Ultra Audio Video and Security Incorporated, and it's an increase of $2,000 to the original proposal. Do I have a motion to approve the change order?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, trustee Gonzalez.
I'll second.
Thank you, trustee Nyro. Trustee Walsh.
Yes.
Trustee Nyro.
Yes.
Trustee Di Natale.
Yes.
Trustee Bartolomeo.
Yes.
Mayor Minnikosi.
Next week.
next proposal is a proposal for engineering services. This has to do with our residential refuge and recycling contract. Our contract is up for renewal in May of this year, and we need to go out to bid for a new, or same contractor to bring our waste recyclables and MSW2. So the proposal's for a total of $5,500 to prepare the bid specs and contact bidders and summarize the volume and the information needed for the bid specs. Is there,
I'll make that motion.
thank you, Trustee Mayor.
I'll second.
Thank you, Trustee Barton. Trustee Walsh,
Yes.
Trustee Nyberg,
Yes.
Trustee Di Natale,
Yes.
Trustee Bartolomeo,
Yes.
Mayor Nicosi.
Yes.
Last item on the agenda is a proposal from the Cornell Cooperative Extension. It is for it's an agreement to commence March 1st of this year, and the will is February 2024 to do dry weather illicit discharge detection and elimination. This is required again under the MS4 program, and they will be, Cornell is proposing to, as a one-year program, request the village to conduct outfall reconnaissance, dry weather flow monitoring, and sampling in 2023 for all Bayville outfall. This is to maintain compliance with the permit in the current year. All of the outfalls in the existing village inventory will be verified and monitored at least once prior to the reporting year deadline of March 2024, and they will prepare an annual report. And we are required again under the MS4 regulations to have this done once every 5 years. The total cost proposed by Cornell is $9,791. Yes, thank you, $9,791.
Any motion?
Thank you, Trustee Bartolomeo.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Trustee Di Natale. Trustee Walsh,
Yes.
Trustee Nyberg,
Yes.
Trustee Di Natale,
Yes.
Trustee Bartolomeo,
Yes.
Mayor Nicosi.
Yes.
Thank you. Mayor and Board, at this time, I don't have any more business to put before you, so I will turn the meeting over to you, Mayor.
Thank you. Anybody in the audience, Ms. Pileggi, you want to tell us about the library, what's happening, or did you just come to watch?
I just came to watch. We are having an ad hoc committee.
Anybody else that would like to hear it this evening? Yes, sir.
Yes, good evening. My name is George Jett. I live on Chopin Place. I just have a question, probably more for the council than for the trustees and the mayor. Just like to know what the village's position is on the governor's proposal to have the state override local zoning. Because as you know, it may have a tremendous impact on Bayville.
Well, it's surely a very controversial law down here in, especially on Long Island, because but it's something which I think all villages ought to group together to put in a lot of opposition to it. I know a lot of our local legislators have been contacted. I know some other villages have written letters to their residents about the situation and asked that the residents contact their local assemblyman and their local senator that covers their particular area. As you may know, the state of New York over the past several years, because it's controlled by one party only, they throw these things into a budget and don't even have any hearings on the very merits of the legislation that they're trying to pass. And it's very discouraging, in my opinion, because these things get slipped into the budget as part of like an omnibus bill, and therefore the public doesn't have much of an opportunity to even comment on it. Interestingly enough, back in 2019, that happened with the bad laws. The legislature didn't even invite the district attorneys or police officials to any of the hearings up in Albany. So I think it's something that, to be effective, I know in the past, we've been able, the villages on the North Shore, I've been doing this work since 1966. and years ago, they used to have what they call the North Shore Mayors Committee. And that was an organization of 12 villages that banded together. And it mainly was banded together to stop the Bayville Bridge. So
I know about that when I was involved.
Right, you probably are aware of that. And I think probably it may be appropriate for the villages here in Nassau County to organize themselves in a manner to create some real opposition to this kind of concept. Because number one, when you look at the village of Bayville, if they start overriding zoning, of course, they're going to try to put up multi-story buildings or require that. And when you look at the environmental effects side, and the fact that we don't have sewers, we don't, where are you going to, how are you going to build the infrastructure to take care of a lot of that stuff? So there are a lot of issues, in my opinion, that are important. And I do think that having only your representative oppose it might not work because of the fact that he'll get outvoted anyway. You don't know what I'm not very politically oriented. I don't know all the people involved, but nevertheless, I think the important thing is that individual voters, if you will, they have to write letters. I think the more letters and more emails and the more things that are sent up by individuals as against just public officials who are representing a group of people, because they've protested that already. I mean, I think our county executive, Mr. Blakeman, has come out publicly in opposition to that. And I believe a lot of other politicians on Long Island have done so. But probably the most effective thing is to try to rally more citizens to write those kind of letters.
Well, there was an email that I received today from the town of Oyster Bay, where if you signed it, they sent it up to the governor. But I was wondering if the village board has anything in mind to do similarly, to send out to the residents in opposition to this, because needless to say, it would tremendously impact our village here.
Surely as well.
So just, of course, I am opposed to it. I don't want to speak for the rest of the board, but I would assume that they are too. I personally emailed every representative in New York State to voice my displeasure with the proposal. Deputy Mayor Di Natale and I were on a conference call with Governor Hochul's office 3-4 weeks ago with several hundred other representatives from various villages, and the Nassau County Village Officers Association representative spoke strongly against the proposal. As a matter of fact, of the 15 people that spoke, there wasn't one person that was for it, so it's obviously getting strong opposition. But of course, we do not want to see it happen either.
Well, I mean, would it help if the village board took an official position with a resolution in opposition to it and then sent it out to the residents?
It would be a resolution, right?
Yeah, you could.
Yeah.
Absolutely, sure. If this board feels that they're opposed to that kind of legislation, I see nothing wrong with adopting an appropriate resolution which basically opposes what it's about, and to have it sent up to the legislators. And I think it's, as against just sending it to the governor, I think you've got to try to organize it in a way so that we get the names of all the legislators up there. So that
we have them all. The Nassau County Village
okay,
Officers
I'm sure there's a lot of organization already.
And I actually spoke to Assemblyman Levine on Friday about this topic. So there, there is a lot of dialogue going back and forth, but yes, I mean, as Peter said, the more residents that want to voice their displeasure with it, the better.
Well, the thing is, I don't think most people know where to do that, or how to do it even for a lot of people, so it would probably behoove the board if you could send out an email to those that are on the list and tell them how to do it. I think it would help tremendously, you know? I mean, it's just, this is the best level of government, because people like myself, anybody can get up and speak to you folks, and, you can't do that with the governor or a lot of the others.
That's right.
So, I mean, it's going to take away part of that.
We will provide that list.
Well, as we learned with the bridge on 2 occasions, it's when you reach up to the governor and the governor's running for re-election that you get heard, but that's already come and gone. And the people who are in favor of this don't live here now, but they may very well at some point. And our elected officials will cut no great weight in Albany with respect to preventing things like this from happening. They're just overwhelmingly outvoted.
Well, that's why, individuals could do it. It might carry a little more weight, But not a good situation. And as Peter mentioned, it was snuck in as part of the overall budget. So not very fair to the people involved either. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else that would like to be heard this evening? Hot button topic.
Nothing else, Mike?
Nothing else.
Okay, then I'll take a motion to close the meeting at 7:17 PM. Thank you, Trustee Bartolini.
Second that motion.
Thank you, Trustee Natale. Trustee Walsh?
Yes.
Trustee Nyberg?
Yes.
Trustee Natale?
Yes.
Trustee Bartolini?
Yes, we got across.
Mayor Middleton?
Yes.
Got it.
It's just a lot of the boards and they things that work. And so, I'm not going to write our board funds and our work to do every single year. So we figure out what the certain asset is, what it is. And you have to something else to work. So you figure out.
You could do more around the other side.
And the winter months, you can do it 1,000 gallons, 4,000 gallons. Over the course of
Or even that.
So